Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Armed and Anointed podcast. I have a guest today with me. I'm your host, Ashley Russell, and I have Nicole Bentham with me. And we were getting into this episode. I was like, how do you want me to introduce you? And she's like, I don't know. So I'm going to introduce her how I want and say that she's a friend that came into my life when I was going through a wilderness season. And I really needed somebody who I honestly think like didn't know me well enough that I could truly be myself. Like it was a clean slate almost. And I just have kept her since then. And she's actually the one who brought me back to church and has made it so freeing for me to be able to come into a relationship with God and be so loud. Like she's prayed over me. She has, done spiritual warfare for me. She's done events with me. She is one of my best friends, and I'm so grateful for her. So
Thanks. You're one of my best friends. It worked out well.
but we go on walks all of the time. It's something that we do where we go on these like God walks where we just
Yeah.
talk about God, and every time we're on a walk, we're like, we should be recording a podcast right now because this conversation is so good.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't even know really what this episode is about, but we wanted to bring you in on one of our conversations where we talk about God, where we talk about our experience, and hopefully you feel a little bit more seen and understood inside of it.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say that when we first started hanging out and we started like walking and hanging out, I was like, oh, she talks about God all the time. This is great. And so you were my friend who I got to like really talk about God with, to go deep with and talk about all the things that I was feeling, thinking, noticing about him, being challenged with, and talking to other friends who knew you. They were like, she never talked to me about God before. And
Never.
I thought that's just how you were.
No.
I was like, I finally found someone who wants to talk about God all the time.
I had an open door with you, which honestly, I
That's
feel
great.
like God just brings you those people in those seasons when you need them. And that's something that I realized where it's like there can going through the wilderness seasons where like you're losing a lot and like alignment shifts. God will always bring you the people who are supposed to come into the next chapter with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone's like, oh, I'm like losing people or I'm losing this. And it's like, yeah, totally. But also, God's going to bring you the people who are supposed to walk through the next chapter. Like you're not going to be alone.
Yeah.
It's less people in this chapter. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm like here for it.
Yeah. It's good. Quality
It's quality
over quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what does your hat say? Because it's like upside down and then backwards in the.
It says mother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it's upside down and backwards.
It's upside down and backwards. Yeah.
So they might be like.
It was gifted to me.
It looks like what here?
Yeah. It's people always look at it for like a minute longer, so I don't
Yeah.
wear it too often because I always feel like people are really staring at me when I wear it. So I'm gonna out our conversation on the treadmill this morning.
Do it. Let's go. Let's dive right in.
We're on the treadmill this morning, and Nicole goes, so I was about to take a shower and I lifted up my butt
I did.
and I like held
My own one.
the whole weight of it.
Yeah. And it was like 20 pounds of ass.
Yeah. But then how did you correlate that to a spiritual lesson?
Okay. This is how you know when you're a God girl and you're like, and God gave me this insight because of the size of my ass. And it was a holy moment.
It was a holy moment.
And so, yeah, I'm standing there and I'm like butt naked and I'm about to hop in and I'm like, I just wonder how much this weighs. And so I reached back and I lifted it up and I was like, oh, that is significant. It felt like
congratulations, honestly, from one girl who doesn't really have much of a butt. Congratulations.
It was like the only thing I could liken it to is if you ever have like a Costco sized bag of rice and you're like, yeah, that's like what it felt like.
I always have the Costco sized bag of rice.
I mean, it's a great deal. Great company too. Hey,
so this is not sponsored by Costco.
Hopefully they see this though. Okay. So I was lifting up my own ass and I was like, and I'm like, no wonder I'm so freaking tired. If other people were carrying around, I mean, I'm imagining it's 20 pounds because you can't see it right now, but there's a lot. I'm working with a lot here.
It's a nice butt. It's a big one. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I was like, no wonder I'm so tired. If other people were just walking around with a 20-pound dumbbell all day, they would be tired. And I thought I'm like, Yeah, like no wonder I walk so slowly on our walks. I'm like, if Ashley's had another 20-pound dumbbell with her, I feel like it might slow you down a bit and then I could keep up, which was great.
I kind of wish I did.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday we'll
Yeah,
just
I'll get there.
strap one
I'll get
onto
there.
you. So, and then I realized, I'm like, wow, like that's probably why I'm so tired in life, or like why I walk slowly, because I've got like 20 pounds of butt that I'm carrying around with me, and that's exhausting. And then I realized, what am I doing spiritually? What am I carrying around spiritually that's like 20 pounds of spiritual ass that I don't
Oof.
really, doesn't fit me. It doesn't, it's not my comfortable, healthy,
Yeah.
spiritual weight. What am I carrying around that I really I don't need to be carrying? Because I could walk my butt off a bit, like in the physical realm.
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind right now, and I didn't even think about this earlier, was having like spiritual doors open for, I'm going to call it like enemy attacks, where it's like they know how to get to us.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with PMDD for a really long time. Like a
Yeah.
long time, and it was bad, and my back would break out in cysts, and the emotions were like nothing I've ever experienced. It would get really really dark, and I was carrying that around with me, and it was like this plague that would just come at me once a month, and it like
Yeah.
I put it on as part of my identity. And I think that's also something we do. It's like your big ass becomes part of your identity,
Mm-hmm.
and these things just become a part of us. And then I would like speak it over myself and be like, I have PMDD. And I was
Yeah.
struggling really hard with it one day. And I told you I couldn't come meet up because I was like, I am like
Yeah.
wiped off the face of the planet. And you responded. And this was the first time where I ever had a friend do this, where you're like, I'm going to come over and pray for you.
Yeah.
And that was your first instinct. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, this is just a footnote of this, but like, it wasn't even to be annoyed that I canceled last minute. It was, I'm going to come and help you.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
But like not of course. And I know there's a ton of people listening to that where they're like they would have had guilt or like not felt good about that.
Yeah.
But I had this, and you're like, there's this hormonal door that you have open
Mm-hmm.
where there's freedom to like be spiritually attacked. And then you prayed over me and closed it.
Yeah.
And then you guys, I actually haven't talked about this yet, but like I haven't had a PMDD episode since then. I think that was like 2 or 3 months ago.
That's awesome.
And like not only have I not had a PMDD episode where it's like my last cycle was full of joy. Like I was just like overcome with the Holy Spirit nonstop, like on walks, just being like, I'm so grateful. Like I was emotional, but emotional in the
Yeah.
way where I was like, how good is this life? And then I realized that I had been carrying that baggage around with me, just being like, oh, this is a part of me.
Right. Yeah.
And like you guys also, just side note, like don't underestimate what prayer can do. Like,
Like for real. I was in my car on my way to your house and I had some like worship music bumping and I was just like, okay, like God, like I'm gonna like let's just get this. And he was just telling me things to pray over for you. And I remember being like, I was shouting out into the atmosphere. She is a daughter of the king. You can't have her. And it was like the atmosphere around me was shaking, but it was this just holy like indignation about the darkness trying to come for you.
and it's funny because later that day I went for a walk at the water by myself, and God gave me a vision. It was actually one of the times where one of the first times, because it's the second time ever, that I heard his voice. And he stopped me in my tracks and said, Daughter of the King. And it was like over me.
And
Like
I hadn't told you
you
that I
didn't
prayed that.
you didn't tell
No,
me that.
no.
And then I told you later, and you were like, oh my gosh, I was praying that over you.
Yeah.
But God said, he's like, daughter of the king, and like placed a weight on my head, and like this wrapped a pillar of fire around me in this vision. And I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. But it's like that spiritual weight that we take around and just assume that it's a part of us. So it's like,
Yeah.
what baggage do you have that you could pray off of you,
Yeah.
or close doors, or be like, I no longer come into agreement with this?
Yeah, because it creeps up sometimes. Like for me, like this the weight that I'm carrying right now, people carry weight for different reasons,
Yeah.
right? So if you're in this situation and you're relating to me, and what I'm about to say doesn't relate to you exactly, like that's okay because I'm living a different experience. But the weight that I'm carrying right now isn't my normal weight. It's an indication of there's some challenges that I'm having, and for me, it was a slow. it slowly crept up to this point where I'm like, I really can't fit my pants anymore. Like, how'd
Yeah.
that happen? And I
Yeah.
usually wear stretchy clothes. So like, that's probably how it happened.
When you get to the end of your stretchy pants,
And your
you're
stretchy
also,
pants are like,
yeah.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. My worst Scottish accent. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she's gonna blow. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
these fabletics are holding on by a thread and a prayer at this point. But I think the cool thing about that is, and there is a cool thing about that, is because it really showed me how you get used to these little incremental changes
Yes.
into carrying this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it becomes your normal. Like it became my normal state of being. And even though I was uncomfortable with it, it was still normal.
Well, discomfort still exists in your comfort zone. It's
Yeah.
just, it's comfortable. So it's like brick by brick, your comfort zone expands and expands
Right.
and expands to hold it. So it's not like, if you gained 20 pounds overnight, you would feel so deeply uncomfortable right away and you would like,
Yeah.
you'd be awake to it. But because it happens so slowly, it builds up and like you don't see it happening and you get weighed down spiritually like that too,
Yeah.
where it's like a little bit and you come into agreement. And I'm actually doing a training on strongholds tonight because strongholds are essentially any like belief pattern, habit, anything that you hold that opposes the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, you come into agreement with these things where it's
Yeah.
like, a thought maybe that's being placed there and you're like, yeah, okay. And you like come into agreement with that
Right.
and it like builds and builds until it's weighing you down.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, dang. But the coolest part of it is that because it was built brick by brick, you can destroy it
Yeah.
brick by brick.
Yeah.
Like you can take it down.
I think it takes intention though. And that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
that I think that's where a lot of people, like me included, especially right now, I'm having a hard time with it because like I just want the end result, right? I want to fit back into my cute jeans. And I'll get there and I'll definitely get there. But it's making those decisions every day, the micro moments. We
Mhm.
talk about that a
Yeah.
lot. It's staying true in the micro moments and really thinking about what you want most. Like, and think sometimes like it's the good is the enemy of best.
Yeah.
Where like
Yep.
I can fit in my stretchy pants and I'm just kind of eating whatever I want based on my
And you're
emotions
also like,
and I'm
I'm
comforting myself.
married, I'm good. And
Yeah. And I'm like, and now I'm like, I used to have, okay, there's this thing too, which is kind of a problem with your friendship with me because I actually feel super loved right now. And I don't feel the pressure to be this person that I thought I needed to be in order to be accepted and to have friends who, loved me and cared, love me and care for me. I can just be whoever I am. Thanks. I'm just kidding.
well, I do tell you to
Thank
up
you.
your treadmill walking.
You do. But like
Yeah.
I used to pressure myself in losing weight because I didn't think I would be worthy of love. And it's a different thing. Right now I feel totally
That's a
loved still.
stronghold belief, just for all of you listening to this.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
stronghold. That's
100%.
something that opposes the truth that she has taken on.
Yeah, and it was never true. It was never true. In fact, it probably made me like actually like less fun to hang out with because I was so concerned about my appearance. I think the gift that I have right now is coming at this next challenge in my life from a place of peace instead of from a place of oppression.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that needed to I think that needed to change in me first because before I could see a physical response to all this change in my life.
Yeah. Whereas like my thing is going through this slowly spiritually and like it's been walking down a path of brick by brick choosing
Yeah.
the spiritual aspect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's been so hard where it's like physically, yes, you make these choices where like you eat better and you walk more and
Yeah.
you do that for your physical health. But me, I've been going through like spiritual health and choosing hard inside of that is like nothing I've really ever experienced before. Like there's so much good inside of it, but
Yeah.
it's been hard.
It is, and I was talking about that. I was praying about that yesterday. Today, I was watching. I'm on season 3 of The Chosen, and I'm watching. It's right when he sends the disciples out 2 by 2, and then
Mhm.
he's like, "Now you go and do all this stuff." And they're like, "Us," and he's like, "Yeah, you." And God's been talking to me about like he's like, "Yeah, you can do that too." Saying yes to that is also saying no to certain things.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I'm watching on Netflix that were fine before. They're
Yeah.
not fine now. There's certain music that
Yeah.
like was fine before and it's
Yes.
not fine now because it doesn't serve me to where I'm going. It actually will slow me down. It's like carrying more weight spiritually. And I have to like
Yeah.
decide where I want to go because it matters what we pick up every day.
100%. And that's something where I'm like, God changed a lot of things in me right away after my baptism. Like I think I've had a bit
Mm-hmm.
of a different ride than a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
even members of my family who have been in this forever, they're like, that's just different. I'm like, yep, totally. But he changed a lot of things, like what I was wanting to be facing, like positioning in life. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had to choose it since then. So I'm like, I haven't
Yeah.
listened to what I'll call secular music in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, like I only listen to worship music, and what I watch on TV is different. And the way that I speak, like I don't swear anymore. Like
I know it's
the,
really,
it's
it was
crazy.
an
How
adjustment for
crazy
me.
is that?
Well, because you stopped swearing. So I was like MFer was my
But
favorite
it,
word. And I don't want to swear around you because you're like having these holy moments. And I was like, so I stopped swearing too, you
you
know?
guys see how the right friends bring you up or bring you down? Bring you up or bring you down. But I'm like, that's something that God shifted in me. And that wasn't something I really had to choose as much. It was like I would go to swear and I would like be like, I like wouldn't have a word. And I'm like, okay, gosh darn it.
I heard you swear like once since then, and the look on your face was like, I want to throw up. Like I saw you and you were like you had a visual reaction to the word coming out of your mouth. Like,
It's like when your spirit's like God starts to refine your spirit, and then things just feel like a clash
Yeah.
against it. And it was like, I realized I'm like, I haven't smoked pot in 6 months.
Wow.
Like my
Yeah.
spirit doesn't want to be weighed down, and like
Yeah.
weighed down in all aspects where I'm like, it knows, it has discernment of people,
Yeah.
it knows what it wants. And then I heard somebody say this past week, I was on socials, and it was like, careful what you give the Holy Spirit a front row seat to, because like
Mm.
Holy Spirit in you. And I'm like, and it's not a guilt thing. I think before I would have been like,
Yeah.
well, that's real guilt trippy. But I'm like, no, like I want to
Yeah.
be a good representative. I want to be a good vessel.
Well, because the feeling of the Spirit of God working in you and moving in you is so like it lights me up like nothing else.
I
Like
know.
I'm not really drinking alcohol right now and I'm not making a choice not to. I'm just like, because that it just doesn't hit like it used to.
Because it was a stronghold before. So it was like giving you something. And for me, I'm like, God gives me all those things now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
once you experience the Holy Spirit, nothing hits like it. Like nothing hits like it.
It's true.
And you're like, but I used to like this. And that's where Austin called me a victim. My husband called me victim one time. And if you know my husband, he's like the most soft spoken,
He
like,
really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
like he's so kind. And I was like kind of complaining after this happened. And I was like, well, now I don't get to like drink tequila. And I was on vacation. And he's like, and I was complaining about other things too. And I was like, this feels different and this feels different. And like everything just feels different all of a sudden. And like, that's so hard. And he's like, for 1 second, Ashley, like, I love you. Stop being a victim. He's like, I think you're forgetting that what's happening is a privilege.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's right. The Spirit of God
Mm-hmm.
wants to reside in me, and that's changing the way
And
that
you're
I
like, but I can't
feel.
have tequila.
Yeah, no, seriously, like to get real, Ashley. But I'm like, there
The
were those,
creator of the universe
yeah,
chose to partner with you
yeah. But
to be love and to be his presence on this physical earth. And you were in that moment.
it was my flesh
Sad
was
about yeah.
dying,
Well, it's an adjustment.
right? It's
Yeah.
like you start to die to your flesh and your
Yeah.
spirit awakens. And that's the conflict of like everything that used to satiate your flesh
Yeah.
no longer hits the same way. It feels out of alignment because your
Yeah.
spirit is so awake. And so I think a lot of people, when they're looking at like God and this process, they're like, oh, you have to
Yeah.
do this to get that. That's not what it is.
Mm-mm.
It's like when you reposition to God, he fills you so heavily
Yeah.
that you actually stop wanting those things. And it's like, we're going to slip up. There's mornings where I get up at 5 a.m. and I scroll my phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Because we're humans.
girlfriend, stop it. Like, you know better.
Yeah.
But it's like, you want to get closer to the presence of God. You
Yeah.
want to reposition yourself to face him rather than the world. And your flesh throws a fit. Like, I'm sorry, but like I got filled with the Holy Spirit in a miraculous way, and then I complained.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Because I think it takes a minute for our brain, our soul to adjust to what our spirit's doing.
Yeah.
Because especially if our soul was like in the driver's seat of like having fun and having these experiences and having tequila or smoking pot or drinking wine or swearing or all of these things that aren't sin in of themselves, but do they get you closer to God? Probably not.
Yeah.
And our soul was in the driver's seat, and now our spirit's in the driver's seat, and our soul's like, wait a minute. But that's like, it's an adjustment. Our body sometimes, like right now, my body's adjusting to where we're going.
Yeah.
My spirit went first, my soul went second, and now my body's like, I'm tired. All right, get up, girl. We're going.
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to do the other stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Alcohol just doesn't do it for me. It used to make me feel like silly and relaxed and goofy, and now I'm like, nothing gets me more relaxed and joyful and happy than a bump and worship playlist.
Yeah, I feel that. I was on a walk yesterday for like a coffee before church because you were on the worship team. Congratulations. Got back into that. And I was talking to Britt, who I was with, and I was like, have you ever seen the movie Pleasantville?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. So good.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they're all in black and white. And then as they start to like discover themselves and like step out of like the frame of what they were essentially grown in, right? The world of which they knew, and then everything turns to color. And it's like, once everything turns to color, you can't make it go back to black and white.
Yes. And she tried, the mom tried putting on the black and white makeup, and she tried covering it up. And then it got to a point where she couldn't cover it up anymore.
Yeah. And and I'm like, that's what it feels like. It feels like
it's a really good analogy.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Feels like you woke up and you can't go back. And I was doing a devotional, and it was like talking about how your spirit is awakened. And so people who are quote unquote dead, they will not understand you. And I know that like, maybe we've looked a little crazy.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too, but I'm like, I can't go back to black and white. I can't pretend those things still fill me up. I can't pretend that like miracles don't exist and that you can heal in the name of Jesus and you can, fight spiritual warfare and get rid of things like PMD. I can't go back to pretending that doesn't exist.
Because why would you want to? This is so incredible.
Yeah.
It's living life in real color.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I was like hesitant. I've kind of always felt like this, been like this. My parents were youth pastors. They were children's church pastors before. Then my dad was pastor of deliverance. My mom was a counselor. Like I was always into God. I had a moment in my university years where I questioned God and asked him to bring my faith down to nothing and build, him back up the way he wanted to show me. But I've kind of always been like this, but I was really, really scared to share that with people because I thought they would think I was weird. They wouldn't think I was cool. They would like not connect with me. And watching you be so open on your socials with your faith, with a big following, and not all of them were on board, but it was so wild to see.
That wasn't super easy though.
I was like, it's like just standing out there like, here's me. This is what I believe. Judge me or not, I'm doing it. And it was really awesome to see you go through that. And it took a lot of freaking guts. But now like watching you go through that and you lost some, people who were along on your journey. And then you got so many more people who were like, yes, I'm into this. I needed to hear this. This is changing my life. It made me feel brave enough to like start talking about God on my socials, which why haven't I done that before? That's so weird.
That's the thing is like, I feel like I didn't, and granted, I will credit myself to the fact that I did decide to be obedient. I was like, when I said yes, God, like right before Sam baptized me, she said, what are you leaving on this side?
Oh, that's good.
Good question. Good question. And I said, that's
really good.
My agenda, my own plan, and fear and doubt.
Yeah.
They don't come with me. And then it was like, because I did that, it was like, I got called to step out of my business really suddenly, right? Like there was so much where I was like, if I said I'm going to be obedient, I'm going to be obedient. And part of that was I didn't feel like I had training wheels on. Like, and again, like I grew up in Christianity. My dad was a pastor. He was the Christian ministries chaplain at UVic. Like I grew up with this. I knew God. I knew all the stories. I was in it, but I never had intimate relationship. And once that clicked, it was like, God was like, go now and talk. And I didn't even feel qualified to talk. I was like, what am I going to say? I don't know. And he was like, go and talk now. I was like, and I tried to separate it. You watched
Yeah.
me for months try to separate it
Yeah. And
because
you couldn't.
no, everything, it was like, because I'm a business coach, I knew that God wanted, like, He pulled me out of that business. I could see this when I couldn't see anything else. I could see that He wanted me to teach people how to build business outside of cultural norms,
Yeah.
like, build business in service. Like, God's like, I gave frameworks, like, in the Bible. Like, there's instruction here for how to operate, like, go and teach it. And I was trying to separate it. And we did that event. We did a live event.
I was just gonna start talking about that. Watching you at that event, and a lot of your clients, people you're coaching, weren't there because of the faith based. It was new that you were talking about that online,
It was
and
so
so you're
new.
like, this isn't gonna. We're like, this isn't gonna be a God conference. And he was busting through. It was like a Play-Doh thing, or like just like he was just like
Yeah.
everywhere. Like you watching you try to talk without bringing scriptures and start preaching, you were like,
I was fighting for my
it
life.
was like
But I,
trying to like, they're like, don't
yeah.
be suspicious, don't be suspicious. You're like,
I was like trying to keep it in lanes where I was like, no, I'm going to teach about calling and I'm going to talk about business. And I'm like,
yeah,
how do you talk about calling without mentioning the one who calls you?
that's a
Like,
good point.
how do you do that? Right. And so we did this whole event, and I was like, this might surprise people who are there if you're listening to this, but like, I was not good with it after. I was like, that wasn't it. Whatever just happened, that wasn't it. And people were like having their lives
Yeah,
changed. So
yeah,
I'm not skipping over that part. Breakthrough, there's breakthrough for other people, there's purpose there. So like there's purpose in what happened,
yeah,
but there was a lot more purpose in it for me as well, showing me the direction that I have to go. And
right.
like, I should know this. Like, I don't have masks. I don't have
Mm-mm.
compartmentalization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always just like, this is the whole thing. And so I was like, you're like, how was it? Everybody kept asking me, how was it? How was it? And I was like, it was good. It was good. Not for me.
I know. I was like so lit up after that event. I'm like, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. This was so awesome. How are you doing? You're like, not good.
It just, it was void of, it was like I separated what God wanted me to hold.
You weren't being your truest self there.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for you. You're a very authentic, integrity person.
Yeah. But then looking back at it, I'm like, I think that I was stepping out into assignment before God's timing. Like, look at the last, what, November, December, January, February, March, going into March, like 4 months that God's taken me through. Like, He had a process that He had to take me through,
Yeah.
and I hadn't been through it yet.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. That event and how you felt after that, being like, I can't coach that way. Definitely can't. Do you think that that event actually maybe helped you reach that understanding because it felt so inauthentic to you?
Yeah, it did. And it like helped me go into it, but it was weird because I'm like, I'm in a business coaching container where I'm a business coach, like life coach, business coach. And I wasn't talking about God in there because I'm like, it's not my
Mm.
company. It's like I'm here to do what I'm here to do, and I love
Mm.
being able to coach in there.
Yeah.
But then I was tested with clients being like, "Well, she's too religious." And what happened was, the first time it happened, it triggered the balls out of me. Like, it triggered me so hard because I'm here like justifying myself. Like, I've never once mentioned God in that container. I'm like this freaking person that doesn't even participate in it. They're like non-compliant in it,
Yeah.
and they wanted to get out of it, and they used my relationship with God as their out. And so everything inside of me was screaming at me like, well, maybe you shouldn't do this. You're going to lose clients. People aren't going to take you as credible. And like this, you just left your whole other company. Like, you just left your whole business
Yeah.
to go and coach. And now people aren't going to trust you. They're going to leave. You're going to lose clients. Like, it tested me, and I was pressed about it. until again, it was just like another choice where I was like, no, I'm still going to talk about this. My
Yeah.
socials is my socials, my life. Like, it doesn't make me a worse business coach. It makes me a better one because I'm
Mm-hmm.
connected to the source of all creativity, of all insight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it was like I got tested and it was really hard. So it was like that felt bad and pushed me towards doing it. But then also, there was like tests on the outside that were like, are you sure you're going to do this? Because if you do, you're going to lose.
Did you lose any other clients besides her? Because of that reason?
Nope, not because of that reason. And actually, the other day, I had somebody switch to me in that container because they want to build their business with God and they like how I teach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because it's like what you lose, God will bring back to you. He always
Yeah.
does. But there was like this shift where I was like, really felt scrutinized almost by like everybody else in the company being like, okay, like making sure that I'm staying in my lane, making sure that I'm doing this. And I just felt like such a resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And it led to me being like, feeling like I couldn't be that authentic self. But then as I was showing up on socials and like sharing the messages that God was bringing me, like my account grew like 20,000 in 2 months.
It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had like rapid growth. I remember like a week that you were just looking, it was like a few hundred a day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like God was confirming, like, keep talking, keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
But then the world was trying to get me to not talk.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. But it did feel, I'm like, okay, I didn't feel like I was ready. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. Like I feel like I cried to you so many times, just being like, I'm so tired. I'm so
She
tired.
cried a lot.
Like I don't know what I'm talking about. I miss having an offer that like I understand what I'm doing.
Wait. My favorite thing that you said, you're like, what if I don't have anything to talk about? You guys follow her? Are you joking? Are you joking me? I was like, I started laughing. She's crying. I'm like, I bet that's the thing. You wouldn't have anything to talk about. Literally, I was like, I could show up. You could pick me up. I could show up with my camera and be like, Ashley, what's God saying to you right now? Actually, he's saying this. Like, it's not a you thing. You said yes. And you
Yeah.
continue to say yes.
But I was in the
But it's
season.
him, he speaks through you.
Yeah. I was in the season though where it felt like he put his hand over my eyes and I couldn't see anything. So it's like everything,
Yeah.
everywhere that I felt certain,
Yeah.
he cut off.
Because you were feeling certain in your own strength and abilities.
Yeah. That's the worst part is like I can see that on this side of
Yeah.
it where I'm like, I can see what he was doing, where he's like, you're going to learn deep faith. You're going to
Yeah.
learn to trust me. You're going
Yeah.
to learn to not know.
Because
Right.
how are you going to help other people walk through that if you haven't been
And
through it?
that's the thing is I'm like, these months going through this, I was like, I can look back at it now and be like, that was so cool. He changed all of my values. He built this relationship with me where it's like when I was so focused on him, because it was like one step at a time, and I was like, I could literally just visualize holding his hand because I can't see anything and I'm in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
It shut off every other focus I had in my life. Every other thing that I was concerned about no longer was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like everything that used to get my attention no longer got my attention because I had to focus on being in the dark and holding on to him. And then,
It's not even just you being in the dark, but it's like you're the main income provider for your family. So
yeah.
it's like you having your family with you
Mm-hmm.
when the stakes are big,
Yes.
when you're not certain about where money's coming.
Yeah. And also,
That's
like,
huge. Because it's not just you.
yeah,
I feel like
that's a
we can
good
do
point.
stuff for ourselves and
Yeah.
sacrifice for ourselves a lot. But then when you have like your partner and your kids in tow,
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifice hits different.
I feel like that's, you know what? Thank you for saying that because I think I overlooked that where it's like I was being obedient and the stakes weren't low.
The stakes were high.
Yeah, it was like life. Like, I bet my whole life.
Yeah. The cool thing was too is that Austin supported you in it.
Mm-hmm. He did,
Even
yeah.
though you didn't know where you were going or what you were doing in the beginning, and he didn't either, but he trusted you that you heard from God and he supported you. That's commendable.
Yeah. And like he was also the one like picking me up off the floor of the closet, off the floor
Yeah.
of the bathroom as I was crying, that I was like hating what I was doing in coaching because there was so much resistance about it and like being like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Imagine hearing your wife who had said, God told me to leave this business. And he's like, great. And then for the next
Yeah.
like 5 months, she cries that she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And you're like I don't even know how he held it together for that, because like he was the person who saw all of the ins and outs of me being like, I'm terrified,
Yeah.
I'm like going through this. There was parts where I was like, I would assume look depressed, like it was killing off my old self.
Hmm.
And he still was like, you're gonna come out of this and you're gonna have
Because
clarity, you're gonna.
he knows you and he trusts you.
Yeah, but
You're
it's
not someone who's like, I think I'll do this today. Like, you're not that
but
person.
it's for me, I'm like, it was the first time where I'm like, but I don't know what that looks like because
Yeah.
God took away my clarity. And I'm like, I know why he did it, but
Yeah.
I was like so sure of this thing where I was like, nope, I have to do, because I was like, do this and then this and then this and then crickets. And I was like, it's all on the line, man.
Did you, oh, okay.
I'm like,
It's
hello.
all on the line.
It's guts are everywhere. Like,
And God's like, good job.
what are we doing? And only in the last like couple of weeks have I felt his hand kind of lift off in front of my eyes, and I've been able to see some things and like,
You're like, I was fine. I feel like you were chilling at that point.
oh, at that
You're
because
getting used to not
I
seeing.
had finally surrendered. Remember I
Yeah.
told you, was it like maybe 2 weeks ago where I was like, I finally surrendered today. I'm like, I full surrendered. I might be here forever. I might do something else. God's gonna let me know. But until then, I'm just gonna do like be right here and steward the season that I'm in right now. And I'm just gonna be so thankful. And I was like, this is what actual surrender feels like.
Yeah.
I was like, you got it. I don't really have to. That's great. Thanks.
But the thing is that always happens when we choose to follow God's direction. And because there's a peace inside of you. You follow the peace,
Yeah.
right? If it feels like, I don't know, anxiety, like that, like anxiety about it, don't do it. If it feels like peace, but that's scary, but I have peace, that's where I'm supposed to go, but that's really freaking scary. That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
But like if you're in this right now, like there's another side.
Yeah.
There's always the other side. And sometimes it takes, you're like 5 months. That's pretty good timing. That's like,
Okay.
I've been in some stuff for like 5 years, but I think it's
Oh,
because you
I was
said a
about to say.
hard yes.
Yeah, but like I did like this started like last June, right? So I'm like I've been
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
in activity and in growth and all the things since November, but like it started last June, so we're like 3/4 of a year.
I think it goes like because God's on different timing than us, and I
Yeah,
think it
turns
goes
out he is.
funny that I think it takes as long or as short as we want to go with it.
Yeah, that's
Like how long does it take us to fully surrender? Well, some it's going to take longer than others, and some it's going to be like you're like, this is freaking hard. It's supposed to be hard. If you hold on and you doubt it, or you're like, I don't know, it's probably going to take longer.
yeah, that's true. Like I did fully let go, and I went through like a process of not letting go, and the whole time I just walked outside,
Yeah.
and I had to cut out like all of the strongholds. But he started, like I was telling you, I prayed yesterday. I have a training tonight for my network marketing container, and I didn't know what I was training on. So I went for a walk with Nicole. And I was like, if you have any training ideas that come to your head, like just let me know. And then I prayed when I got home. I was like, Lord, give me the discernment to know what people need to hear. Give me the wisdom to understand it and the knowledge to teach it. And then I was in the shower and he like dropped a framework in me. And I had like never heard this framework before, but it clicked with what I wanted. Like I had the idea of what I wanted to train about, and he crafted the training. He was like,
She told me it's really good.
yeah,
If
like
you're not in her container, you should be.
like this part and then this part. And I was like, whoa, like it was just a whole feeling of this was not me. This was not me. This was me. This was a spiritual gift of praying for wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm like,
The words that you were telling me weren't words that you usually use.
no. And it's like the way that he just
It was
directed it.
deep.
So I'm
Not that
like,
you're deep. She's very deep.
but
But it was like I was like, oh,
I was so worried that I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I was so worried in my understanding, in what I would do and what I would know. And when I finally just surrendered it, where I was like, Lord, I don't have anything. He's like, I freaking got you. And it was still like a co-creation where I was like, this is
Yeah.
the topic I'm thinking of, but I don't
Yeah.
have the words for this. It's not
Yeah.
coming to me, like nothing is. So I like just surrendered it.
You know what the funny thing about God is? We're always like, this is tomorrow. This is tomorrow. Come in. He always comes in clutch right at the moment that you need it. He doesn't do a lot of like, let's give you some cushy prep time.
No, doesn't.
He's like, well, you don't need it yet.
No. No. And like during the last months where I was going through this, I kept trying to create things so that I would feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, what if I did this or I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that? And like I couldn't see anything, nothing felt good
Mhm.
because I like, and then I realized I'm operating outside of his timing. I'm
Mhm.
operating in my will and not his. And then to bring it back to the event, I had clarity drop for the first time over a women's retreat. And I was
Mhm.
like, Nicole, I can see this. Like, I can see it. I can see the name of it. I can see exactly what we do with it. And it's about renewing ourselves to walk out our assignment. So I was like, I've got this retreat. It's the renewed woman. What do you think?
Do you want to go just hearing that name?
But I'm like, it was the process that he took me through. I was like, he was renewing me so that I could
Yeah.
carry the weight of the assignment that he has.
Yeah.
And there's so much to it where I'm like, it's a spiritual process.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I'm like, I can see the whole thing. Of course, I couldn't understand what I was supposed to do because I hadn't gone all the way through it.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you were like, okay, cool. I'm in. But also,
I'm like, what did I say next? I don't remember.
you were like, let's do a conference.
Oh yeah.
And then as soon as you said, let's do a conference, I could see the whole conference.
Yeah.
And it was like this gift where I'm like, I've just been like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Cause I'm like, the conference, this is going to be our announcement that we are going to be launching a conference towards the end of May or early June.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the Renewed Woman conference. And then in the fall, around November, we're going to have the Renewed Woman retreat. But doing a conference for women's leadership
Mm-hmm.
in business and also in life
Yeah.
and teaching them how to bring God
I'm getting chills right now.
into it. I'm so
Yeah.
excited because I'm like, the last event that I did, I couldn't see anything. Like Pole Nose the night before, I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I can't find it. I can't find it. And this one, I'm like, I know exactly what we talk about. I know exactly how we help these women. I know exactly what they need to hear, like for a faith-based women's leadership conference. And then to also be able to do a spiritual retreat
Yeah.
where we go out of our lives somewhere hot. We love a beach to renew ourselves and like bring these spiritual practices home and like experience God and come together with community. Like,
Okay, so let me ask you a question in this. Let's talk about your DMs for a second. As you're walking through all the stuff you're walking through, and you're being very open on your socials with it. And a lot of that is going to correlate into the Renewed Woman Conference and the Renewed Woman Retreat. Do people relate to what you're going through? I know the answer. Do people relate to what you're going through?
yeah,
What do they message you?
I think some people, they don't have the words to put to the experience that they're having.
Yeah.
And that's something I've felt like God gifted me with as well is articulation to
Yeah.
talk about things. And like, even when I feel like I can't teach it yet, which I know is my purpose, is teaching past experiences and teaching women how to go through these things, I can still talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a vulnerability aspect of, there was actually, before I started being really open with it, I was really in the dark parts of it. And someone had asked me, how did you just step so effortlessly into your calling? Yeah, that was my reaction. And I realized that I wasn't sharing it.
I feel like effortlessly. If I could give an analogy of you stepping into your calling, it's clawing your way up the mountain, losing nails along the way,
Fingers
bleeding, sweat dripping down your face, pulling your family with you and your calling and any words God gave you. And you're like sliding down the mountain, climbing back up.
Yeah, but I was like,
effortlessly.
I was like, LOL, it's not like that. And then I realized that like people don't understand the gap of really how to make a shift. And not everybody's gap is going to be as like hardcore life.
Well, your
pivot.
calling is a pretty heavy one.
Yeah.
I have to say that. Like, and to whom much is given, much is required. And like the Bible talks about teachers being like really tested, and
Mhm.
because you have to be an example of what you're teaching, or the character isn't there to support it.
Yeah.
It's just anointing without character is kind of, it's flimsy.
Yeah.
But you had to go through, so it might not look like you clawing yourself up a mountain, like so dramatic,
Yeah.
but you had to go through that in order to get to where you need to go, because you have to lead people from an authentic place, because you're
Yeah.
not going to lead them from a not authentic place, just not that person.
No, I can't do that. It doesn't do anything for anybody. But I think the feeling of like people were really feeling seen
Yeah.
in it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm in this." Let them know that like where they are is not wrong.
Yeah, and I think it feels wrong.
Yeah, it does feel wrong. If I'm like,
Yeah.
if I didn't know God was calling me somewhere and I wasn't in like that faith, and like I also tried to do this where I was like, maybe I heard God wrong. Maybe that's not what it is. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here because like it shouldn't be this hard and there should be more clarity and it should feel softer and better. And it's like it doesn't.
Okay, so if I could just like pitch your coaching for a second, because I'm going to, just being a part of your calls in, what was I a part of your calls in, like
Like my
January?
first coaching container last January. Yeah.
No, but like, no, I was a part of that, but I'm talking about this past January
Oh
where
yeah.
I was just
Yep.
like on your calls, just praying for people, supporting people, like having that community of women who are
Mm-hmm.
going through this. And I know there's some of you listening right now that are like, yeah, I feel like I'm clawing myself up a mountain. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna cry because it's hitting for me too. Having a group of women and a leader who's gone through
Yeah.
it, and people who are going through it, where you can ask questions and you can really get the support you need to keep going, because we don't want to be in this
Mm-mm.
for 5 years. There's stuff that I've been dealing
Well,
with for 5 years. I would rather be on the 5 month track of
yeah.
it being a little more challenging, but you have somebody saying
Mm-hmm.
that's normal actually to feel like that. I'm going to help you through it. This is what we do.
Yeah.
It's a
And
big deal.
we're not supposed to
Link in
go
bio.
through you're the best. Like we're not supposed to go through it alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's the gap, and it's many are called, few are chosen.
Yeah.
Because closing the gap of going from called to chosen is going through this transition. It's choosing the hard. It's choosing to lean into God's calling. It's choosing to walk out in faith. It's choosing to reposition yourself to his way. And like that's not the easier path to take.
Mm-mm.
The easier path is the comfort that you know, the life that you know, the staying with the people that you know. It's all easier. And that's why I'm like, I could just feel God so heavy being like, few are chosen because few choose the narrow road. And honestly, you need people helping you up to the narrow road.
Yeah, we
You
can't
were
go it
that person
alone.
for me.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, but it's like you can't do this alone.
But I think I was that person because you helped me first and you didn't even realize it. I was just part of your coaching container. I didn't really, I talked sometimes, like, and I had to. I remember, like, we were supposed to do one on ones and I didn't want to do one on ones because I was scared of you. I was like, she's going to know my secret sin.
Being able to
It's
see
not
people
even
is cool.
that. It's not even that you're not. I'm not scared of it now.
Thank you. I appreciate
But
that.
I was like, but going through that coaching and like being, oh gosh, there was so many limiting beliefs that I had over myself. That was the extra 20 pounds of spiritual darkness that I was carrying around that was just making life so hard. And I wanted to be free of it so bad. And I remember your coaching container started in December, which is like, it was like my craziest, because my main gig is like advertising sales and content creation and managing that from a director standpoint and managing a team. That was my busiest time of the year. And my husband's like, what are you doing taking on this thing? Because it was 2 nights a week, an hour. And then we had to do work and we had to like do stuff. And I'm like, I literally can't go on as I'm going on. And you were offering this. And I was like, I'm going to take this because I feel like this could cost so much more than what she's offering this for. And thanks.
Got you. I got you.
Money. But so I did it, and it was life changing. I would have paid thousands a month to walk through what I walk through, because I'm different version of myself.
Yeah. I think that calling is like hard for people. Like purpose is hard for people. Like, how do I know what God's calling me to?
Oh yeah.
You know? And we'll wrap in like the next 10 to 15, but I said 10 to 15, like buckle up. We're still going. but it's like I have watched you step into your calling and gifts and like reawaken those and choose them.
Yeah.
And then I've had to do the same thing where I'm like, I didn't know what my exact calling was. I knew that God was going to use me to go in to meet people in their darkness and show them the light. That was that was the whole thing that I had.
Yeah.
Was God was like, you're going to go and meet people in darkness and you're going to show them how to choose light and choose it and choose it and choose it until it outweighs the darkness.
I had known my calling, but it felt like I felt like the Robin Williams Peter Pan, you know,
Yeah.
not like actual Peter Pan, who's like actually like a really bad guy. That story's like messed up, but like he forgot who he was. And I went through school
Mm-hmm.
of ministry, and I knew who I was, and I knew what I was going to do. I knew exactly, and then life happened, and it got to this point where I'm like,
That's a thing, brick by brick by brick.
brick by brick,
Life happens and you
and I'm
lose
like,
things.
who am I? Didn't feel connected to God anymore. I went to church, I would sing, but like I and that was like that's the thing that lights me up is worship. And I didn't know who I was, and uncovering these limiting beliefs, like little bit by little bit, challenging myself a little bit. I remember one time when you were having a hard time, and Austin's like, fight back, and he
Yeah.
gave you three small things to do.
Yeah.
And they were small things, but you did them, and it gave you that fight back. But like going through your coaching container and uncovering that, realizing who I am, and now I'm stepping into it now. Would I go back? No. Like I wouldn't. There's no way
Yeah.
I would go back. I would. There's no way I would go back to who I was. The darkness and the heaviness and the oppression and the limiting beliefs and the hopelessness that
Well,
I
it's
was
like
feeling. It was awful.
if you're in that spot right now where you're like, no, I get it, Ash, but you know you're calling, and Nicole, like you're stepping back into that and you knew what it was. It's the way that you find it is by looking for pieces of joy in your life.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like for you, I look at you and I'm like, Nicole has this gift of intercession and worship. And I want to say like the worship part is almost the gift of encouragement because like when you're worshiping, you encourage everyone's freedom to do the same.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's been huge for me too, to be able to like express and like have that be normal. But you started by having by choosing the little trail of joy where it was like
Mm-hmm.
starting to play your piano again and like just
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to do that. And so and for me, I'm like when I would coach somebody and I would watch impact happen or breakthrough happen in them, like I can't even describe the joy that would be set off in me, the peace that would be. I'm like, that's why I'm like, it was never about earning. It was always about what
Mm-hmm.
happens in
Mm-hmm.
that other person.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I followed that joy and I was like, this is how I'm leaning into it. And that's how my calling was unfolding.
Yeah.
Right. And so I looked for different avenues to lean into that. And like podcast was one too. How can I help people with my voice
Yeah.
here? Events was another one.
Yeah.
How can I do that there? Right. It's like it's finding what brings you joy and unraveling a path behind it.
That's so good.
Thank you so much. We prayed that Holy Spirit would speak through us on this podcast, and that wasn't me.
I
I'll tell
feel
you
like
that.
that's a whole training right there, finding your joy, because joy seems like it's like, oh, like just like happy, but like light, like happiness. Like it's like a word that like boomers use, joy, joy. But joy is a freaking powerful
It's
force.
feral.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's feral enough to creep into any aspect of your life. Even when I was in the void, there was joy. Like I would see a
Yeah.
rainbow and I would be so depressed and I'm like fighting for my life and I'm going for a walk at the beach and I see a rainbow and like the overwhelming joy that just came in and took over everything.
Because it's different than happiness.
It's different than
It
happiness.
goes deeper.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
That's why I'm like it's feral. Like it has no
Yeah.
chill. Like it's like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not shallow. It only has depth.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like it's following those things in your life. If you're like, I don't know what my calling is right now, do an inventory. What do people come
Right.
to you for? Right? Like what lights you up right now? Where it's like it might just be something in your regular life where you're like, well, I really enjoy like making bread. That was one for me too. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, but why would I? That's not going to lead to anything. Maybe it does. Maybe it leads to like community and baking and maybe you have the gift of mercy and you're here to like bake and give it to people, right? Like
Yeah.
there's calling somewhere and you just have to start exploring what brings you joy. And I love how they said we did this course at church this weekend, and they said, your calling is where your great joy, your gladness meets the world's hunger. I'm so
That's
glad.
so
I'm so glad I
good.
remember that because that
That's
gave
so good.
so good, right?
Yeah.
Your calling is where your deep joy meets the world's hunger.
I remember him saying that
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
And they gave this kind of picture of like there's broken parts, there's cracks in the world, and our job is repairs. Like we all fit somewhere to repair something. We
Hmm.
all do. We have this like this thing that we give to the world.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times can be like, well, I'm not meant to do anything. And like, that's just an enemy lie, just so you know. Like, every single one of us has spiritual gifts, every single one of us has calling.
Yeah.
And it's just starting to follow it and explore it. And it's something that unravels. It's not something that's just like, oh, this is it. Right. It's like, what part of me? So it's your joy and it goes with the world. So like, it's going to feel like a fit.
Hmm.
Because that was my kind of thing. I was like, well, what if I'm called to do something that like I really don't want to do? I was like, what if I'm called to do something that I don't want to
Like
do?
just like math all day or
Like
something.
something where I'm like, I know it's supposed to be God's will
Sacrifice for you,
and
God.
not mine, right? But then knowing that it's like, if
Yeah.
it's going to stem from me, my personality, the skills that I have, the gifts that I carry, right? Like it's going to feel
Hmm.
like a fit with what the world needs.
Hmm.
And that doesn't mean that it's just always going to be easy. Like for me, I was very shy. So like learning to use my voice and build the skill
Right.
is something that I had to do. For
Yeah.
you, like worshiping and stuff, like there's skills that have to be built there. You have
Yeah.
to practice piano, you have to do voice stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's skills behind your calling that you're going to have to strengthen, but it's going to bring you joy and it's going to feel like a fit for you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just a part of like, if you're sitting here being like, I don't know what my calling is, I don't even know how to step into this. Number one, come to the Renewed Woman
Yeah.
Leadership Conference.
We're going to dive into that.
We're going to dive into that hard. It's going to be 2 days of, thankfully not separating God at all. We're going to bring God into our business, into our lives, and
Hmm.
also just figuring out like our strengths and how we are meant to lead
I'm
ourselves and
so
others in this
excited
world. I'm
about this.
so excited.
I'm so excited. Okay, this morning I got my husband to drop my son off at school and I'm like, the house is quiet. It's to myself. So I sat down and I was playing this new worship song on piano. And afterwards, I just laid on the couch, face down, crying. And I'm like, I just want to see people set free. I just want to see people set free. And it was so overwhelming in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just kept saying it over and over again. And so my husband was like, the cat's licking your toast over here. He had no idea what was going on. Um, and I'm like, I just want to see people set free. And that's what we're going to do
Yeah.
at the Renewed Woman
Yeah.
Conference. We're going to see people set free. We're going to get set free. We're going to go after it. It's going to be an environment where we can just put everything else to the side just for a second, just for like a couple days.
Yeah.
And we're going to come together and we're going to dive in deep.
Yeah. And I'm like, just the feeling of being like, I can see it. Like, I know what it looks like. And like, there's
And this is
clarity
someone
in
walking
it.
and they're calling. Look how she's lit up.
Yeah. And this is also someone who like was nervous to speak in front of people. So like your calling will
Wild.
challenge you, but also like light you up in ways that make you want to
Well,
sacrifice.
that was like Moses. He didn't want to talk in front of people. God was like, ha, you're cute. Do it anyway.
Yeah, I feel it. Not that I'm Moses, but like the feeling of like, okay, go talk. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But yeah, come to the conference
Yeah.
because if there's anything that I know from going through this is like you need people leading you. You need community. You need to
Yeah.
know, but also I'm like, I want you to experience your gifts. I want you to experience God's presence
Yeah.
and see in color because you will never be able to go back to black and white. Business will never be
Yeah.
just business. Sales will never be just sales. Your work won't be your work. Your life won't
Yeah.
just be your work life,
Let's
right?
get
Like
some joy.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So we'll wrap here because Nicole, I think, is going to come on at least once a month to have
Okay.
just conversations that we can bring you guys
Let's
into.
do it.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
we're always going through stuff. So
Yeah. I'll never run out of issues
Yeah.
to talk about.
No.
But I think that's the thing too. We're going after it and it's just getting like leveling up. There's new challenges, there's new growth, and there's new joy all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you enjoy this podcast, as always, it's always appreciated if you give it a share, as a growing podcast does. I appreciate you guys so much. I do see each and every share, and I just love how it's impacting you. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.